The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. Week 5 injury report, rankings update, and DraftKings ownership projections, which are powered by fansharesports.com. If you want to become a subscriber at fansharesports.com, tell them Pat Mayo sent you. Use the promo code PME at checkout. Get yourself a discount, and hey, you can figure out who's going to be the most owned. If you play a ton of volume on DraftKings, it really is a necessary tool to use solely because you can find those leverage points. You don't need to be like, say, oh, this guy's going to be 30% owned. I can't play him. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that if like 3 guys are super highly owned right next to each other, there's a 4th guy who's like just as good, you're going to want to know who that 4th guy is because you're going to want to play them. All of my rankings are updated right now. You can find them on dkplaybook.com or hit the description of this video or podcast. You can find them down there. And you got to play in the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League. They made it smaller because you people out there didn't sign up quick enough. You filled it. That's great. I thank you for that. We need to start reserving entries, making sure everyone gets in. There's no rake in this contest. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. It's down to 3,500 spots. First prize is still $5K. Min cash is still double your money because we can do that because there's only no rake in it. There are so few tournaments that are no rake, and this is one of them. So I suggest you play it. Chris Meaney played in it last week.
Played in it last week, playing it every week. Love it. It's the best tournament on DraftKings.
And you won it.
Yeah, and I won. And I mean, I think I came like 49th and I still took home $100. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, so when we worked with it with the DraftKings people, it's a lot structured like my golf tournament is as well, where like we want to cap what the top prize was. Because normally, especially in a rake tournament, and you'd have 4,000 people at a $15 entry. First prize would be like $15,000, which is awesome if you win.
Sure.
But this way, like, first is 5,000, second is 3,000, you get 1,000 for third. We said then it's not 75th pays $20.
I think last week, like the top 1,000 at least got paid.
Yeah,
took home some money.
Yeah, about 1/4 of the field gets paid.
Yep.
And if you put in your $15 and you cash, you'll get at least 30 back.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important. Like, no one wants it. No one wants to play a $15 entry and then win $20 back. It's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for the $5 investment. Yeah, you double your money, and I agree with you. I mean, every time that contest comes out, I just reserve right away, and I just look at Sunday and put together the lineup on Sunday mornings.
Yeah,
that's simple.
That's exactly
very easy.
That's
Get in it, people. It's amazing.
And you did it last week, like a super chalk lineup.
I did. I did do super chalk lineup. I had Gallman. I had Eckler. Who I went with Kelsey and Mahomes. I didn't get a whole lot from them, but there was a nice floor. I got enough. And then there was another chalky guy. I forget who it was now. Oh yeah, Inman. Yeah, our boy Inman. He worked out. He did way more than what he was projected to do.
Dude, 13 points at $3,000. He allowed you to get everyone else who's good into your lineup.
And he got hurt and left the game. Yeah. He probably would have did a little bit better for us in the fourth quarter. Yeah, potentially.
This is true. So I do have some money to give away too. I know people like the giveaways.
Yes.
So what you can do is smash the like button for this episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. You tell me with Tyler Eifert this week, because I haven't projected at 22%. Right now. Maybe it comes in a little bit lower, but what would be the breaking point in terms of percentage where you would be okay full fading Tyler Eifert across the board in the DraftKings Millionaire Maker in week 5? So that's one giveaway. The second giveaway, subscribe, rate, and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. Like, it's a super easy one to win. It means the most to the show because it really does help so much. Yeah. So even if I wasn't giving you potentially $20 for doing it, subscribe, rate, review, and download the show. 5-star review, something nice about the show. DraftKings handle, boom.
Nice.
You're in the draw.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, I'll be live on Sunday, 9:30 a.m. On these same channels. I'll be live Monday at 1 p.m. That's when I announce the winners. So people should just download and watch all those ones too. Even if you don't care or give a shit, just do it for my sake.
Yeah, it takes 2 seconds. You guys do it for Pat. He's pumping out some great content all week for you, and you got a chance to win DK bucks. It's super easy.
Yeah, no Paul Shag. As of this moment, he's coming in momentarily, so you can see me switching the camera as we go along. So I'm going to be like discombobulated. If I'm talking and the camera gets stuck on Meaney, well, that's just the breaks.
Yeah, well, it's a Friday.
I used to do this at fantasy all the
time. You did all the time.
And I'm so at a rhythm. Like having Paul is such a luxury, and he's so good at it. It's like, hey, you take care of it.
You're doing a pretty good job right now.
Yeah, but now I don't know how it like sets up. Like I have to press 3 buttons in order to switch the camera instead of just one, because I can be like 2-shot Meaney.
Yeah.
Meaney 2-shot.
Yeah. Better you than me. I would be would be messing it up for sure.
Well, let's talk about some of these injuries, and we'll start at running back. What do you think, likely in, actually, I should probably just go over the guys. Yeah. Likely in, Marlon Mack, Jamal Williams has actually been ruled out. Justin Jackson, Devin Singletary, James Conner, and Damian Williams all projected to be in. Jamal Williams, Tevin Coleman, I don't know yet because that's a Monday game.
I haven't heard anything about him, really.
He was practicing a little bit, but just don't play him.
Don't play him.
Just wait. Listen, if he's good and you own him, just wait the week.
For sure.
Saquon's not playing.
No, he's not going to play. He's already rolled out. But man, the fact that he's close, it's so crazy.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. They were talking to Miles Sanders, former teammate. I saw it on NFL Network actually before I came, and they asked him about his old teammate Barkley, and they said, when you heard that 4 to 8 week period, honestly, just be honest. Did you believe it? Did you buy it? He's just like, no, that guy is a freak. How much work that he puts in, I thought he'd be, practicing within the week, and he is.
It seems almost insane, though. At the same time, that this kills, it's the same injury Tevin Coleman has, and he's missed. And we don't project him back again this week.
Right.
So the fact that he can but I think that they do keep him out again. Now they play Thursday next week, and then they have a bye week. So what are you doing?
Yeah, you're right.
You're gonna run back Barkley in order to play the Patriots in a game you're not gonna win anyway. Just make sure your best guy is healthy.
Good point. Very good point. Yeah, I don't expect him for a couple weeks. So he'll miss this week, he'll miss next week, and like you said, you got the bye there. So you got a couple more weeks out of Gallman. I mean, he's been good if you picked him up, but obviously he's that. I mean, you probably should have flipped him after that one huge game. Yeah, if you were in a tough spot, you keep him.
Who's trading for Wayne Gallman?
I don't know, man. There's some people who are in tough spots. Yeah, you're right, but you never know. Some people are in tough spots.
I guess so. I spent a bunch of fab money on him, and I actually had to do it.
Yeah.
If I didn't get the Gallman game from last week, I would have lost in leagues. I could no longer afford to lose in. Yeah. Now I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
now,
of course. He's worth it. You get the W. You paid for the win.
I paid
maybe
for the
for
win,
another couple more wins.
And maybe I get him 2 more games. I don't love him this week against Minnesota, but what are you going to do?
He's touching the ball. He didn't play as much as I thought, but that game was out of control. They used some other guys, but I think he got 60% of the runs. I mean, that's a positive. He's going to be the goal line back. If he can fall into the end zone for you. Also, another thing, he's very underrated in the passing game.
Yeah,
for his career.
Well, we watched the games together. I was 2.5 receptions for Gallman over, and it instantly hit. It was great.
Easy. Yeah, I forget the number off the top of my head, but I think he's got close to 60 catches for his career, and he's really never been a starter.
If I can just get 2 more full games out of him, even just through volume against the Vikings this week, where if you can somehow pick up 20 touches, hopefully 5 of them are catches.
Yep.
There's 5 points right there.
Absolutely.
And maybe sneak your way into the end zone somehow. Then now there's 11 points. And even if you put up 70 total yards on 20 touches, who cares?
Yeah, you're looking at a solid RB2 for sure. If you get those numbers, absolutely.
Out of all the guys that are banged up, it looks like James Conner is fine.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't really worry too much about Jalen Samuels. That was the giveaway on the ranking show with Jake. If Connor sits out, where do you rank Samuels? Or if Connor plays, where would you rank Samuels? I have him outside of the top 30. It's 32. Yeah. I get where it's coming from, but they might not do that again.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. It was fun to see, really. I mean, the fact that they just changed their offense completely, it reminded me of Baltimore when they made that switch with Lamar Jackson. It took a little bit. It took 2 games here with Mason Rudolph. But both of those guys, they each had 10 carries, 8 catches. You're right. Who knows if that's the way it's going to work moving forward. And I think James Conner is just going to be questionable all year, whether it's an ankle or a knee. I think it's just going to be something with him. But he's the guy to play and not Samuels.
Yeah, no, but people saw Samuels.
Are really
oh my gosh, Samuels is their quarterback now. But I have Connor as a top 15 back, not Devontae Adams, who is also going to miss this week. But with Jamal Williams out, I have Aaron Jones ahead of him. Yeah. I like what I saw in the second half of that game when they actually passed him the ball. It is a tough matchup, though. Dexter Williams is going to be the backup in Green Bay, who you probably don't want.
You don't want, but it'll be nice to see him, at least, because he is very explosive. I don't think we'll ever talk about him as a guy to play unless something happens to Jones. But I agree with you. They used a lot of Jones. They ran the ball not successfully, but they passed the ball to him as well. And with no Adams, you expect a few more targets.
I would think so. We'll get into the Green Bay receiving situation once we hit to wide receivers. A few more of these. Justin Jackson will be back. That's not really the story with the Chargers. It's Eckler versus Gordon. And all reports seem to indicate that Eckler's going to be the guy for this week, at least. And we were just kind of discussing on the show, when you look at or before the show, sorry, who was discussing it on the show, people would know what we were talking about, right?
Yeah. Well, they know now. We're talking about it now.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm switching these cameras and making bad
You're
switches.
doing a good job.
Don't know what to do.
You're
here.
doing a
But,
good job.
as it pertains to DraftKings, everyone's owning McCaffrey, everyone's owning Cook, everyone is owning David Johnson. Those are the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Zeke and Kamara kind of fill in the leverage spot, but no one's going to use Eckler.
No.
And it's risky because Melvin Gordon could be the guy. He could get all the goal line work.
Sure.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But if it is Eckler, it's a sweet matchup against the Broncos.
It's an awesome matchup.
And it doesn't seem like anyone's going to use him.
I know. I said that on the Footballers pod this week that I was interested in Eckler as well. And I was like, there's going to be multiple reports coming in and coming out with Gordon, and nobody knows. But the fact is, he hasn't played in such a long time that he's definitely not going to get a full workload. No way. And the matchup is so nice. And the last report that I saw before I came on here with you is, they're talking up Eckler, that he's just been so good. And he has been so good. So, I mean, how can you go away from that guy? He's going to be involved through the air. Maybe he doesn't get those touches in the goal line. Perhaps we see Gordon get, what do you figure, like 10 carries for Melvin Gordon? I mean, that's what I figure as best case scenario. I mean, if the game is competitive, maybe he gets up to 14, but he's not going to play the normal set of snaps that he's used to playing, or we're used to seeing him play. So I think that's the only fear, that Gordon comes in and takes maybe a goal line touch, but no one's talking about Eckler against the Broncos and their defense. I mean, that could be, you get Eckler at like single digit percentage. I mean, you're loving it.
You might even get him at like low single digits because everyone's gravitating towards exactly the same people at running back.
Yeah.
And as we've discussed all week, that there's no paid down running back. If Connor had
I
sat,
know there isn't.
everyone would have used Samuels, which would have made sense because he's like the only guy down there.
Yeah.
Other than that, man, it gets
No,
real
I know.
tough.
Like Jacobs is 45. You don't want to play him against the Bears. It's just such
Maybe you do. Maybe this just goes in a situation like I
it doesn't have to do much to return value.
I don't want to play him.
Right.
However, he could score 2 touchdowns
Yeah.
because he gets all the goal line work. I don't even think Oakland scores 2 touchdowns in
Yeah,
that game.
that's the
that,
one
That
fear.
becomes the problem.
That's the fear, is that you just wonder how much they're going to be able to do against the Bears defense. Like, you can throw on Chicago, not easily, but you can throw on them a lot easier than you can run on them. So that's really the only back I was looking to, even again before I came, and I was like, which low price back am I going to bring up on the show? And that's it. It's just Jacobs at $4,500. There's no one like, if the Colts were playing and Mac wasn't playing, we could talk about Hines, but that's a Sunday night game, and you're just not going to go there.
The only other ones I can kind of feel in that range,
Trey Cohen?
Lindsey at 49 or Freeman at 46, because the Chargers also suck against the run.
Yeah.
This game could be super fast.
Yeah, it could be.
We all expect this like Cincinnati and Arizona game to be such a high pace game. They're going to run like 150 total plays, like no huddle. We're not going to milk the time clock whatsoever. And the other game is just, we're going to run as many times as possible.
Well, that's what Denver wants to do. I mean, we've seen both. There's been games this year, especially one where Freeman and Lindsey both caught like 6 or 7 passes in the game.
That was
like
against the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, they're using both of those backs, and everything seems to run through both of them. So yeah, it's an opportunity. I was looking at Tariq Cohen too, but I don't want to get too cute with him, but in 2 games with Chase Daniel, one that we watched together, I think it was a Thanksgiving game, and 2 starts with Chase Daniel, 22 targets, 19 catches, 200 receiving yards. And last week he only caught 2 balls, but he had a season high 5 targets and then the touchdown. But we also saw Montgomery touch the ball 24 times in that offense last week, and you wonder if they turn over with him, they get up in that game, they lean on him. But I think, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Tariq Cohen leaves that game. It's not saying much, but leaves that game leading the Bears in catches.
I can see that.
It's possible.
I think Taylor Gabriel is going to be out again, right? Yeah, Taylor Gabriel ruled out with a concussion.
Yeah.
So maybe he ends up just getting more receiver snaps at the same time. I don't hate that, but like you could use James White and just hope this is a game where the Patriots try to pile on in the first half. They use a lot of James White. Gore is down there. We'll talk about Singletary in a second. Like, people love Ronald Jones, yet for the amount of love about Ronald Jones, he's the starter, he's so good, no one wants to play him.
Nobody wants to play him, and Bruce Arians won't name him the starter. He said again this week that Barber is the starter, and they're going to ride the hot hand, and that's going to be the case. They're going to ride the hot hand. I actually think Jones is better. I've said this before on the show, but it's not saying much, right? I mean, he's still not catching any balls out of the backfield. He doesn't have any catches, and that's why I think nobody wants to play him on DraftKings. Like, where does his upside lie? If they get inside the red zone, Barber's probably getting those touches.
Yeah, I guess it's just he breaks 2 big ones for a touchdown. That just seems unlikely against a pretty good Saints team.
Yeah, very good Saints team that bottled up Zeke pretty easily last week.
Yeah, so I guess the other ones, the 2 Eagles guys are down here too. So you have Sanders, you have Howard. I'm not. Someone offered me a trade for like They offered me Jordan Howard for Josh Jacobs. Like, why would I ever make this trade?
Yeah, especially you. I could see you try to do that in other leagues, your average leagues where people are, just looking at box scores.
And I'm not even saying that Howard can't outscore Jacobs for the rest of the year, but like that's just that trade makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense because Jacobs gets basically all the touches. We want to see him a bit more involved in the passing game. The one thing I will say about Howard, and I did say this last week, is that he's continuing to trend up. He really is. We can laugh about him all you want, but it's like 6 carries, 8 carries, 11, 14. Yeah, he was wide open for that receiving touchdown. Whatever. He still got it. And he's top 5 in red zone rushing attempts. All 4 of his touchdowns have come. Add that to the fact that Sam Darnold's not playing. You wonder what the Jets offense is going to be like. 14-point favorites at home. They probably lean on both backs.
I can see it this week.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's an objectively bad play, but if you're talking about like rest of the season, who would you rather have? Like, it's very clear.
It's very clearly Josh
There's going to be some
Jacobs.
weeks where Jordan Howard scores like 0.4 points.
Yeah, there's going to be some weeks where maybe he doesn't even touch the field. Maybe Sanders is unbelievable this week.
Or maybe
he takes a back
Maybe
seat.
Sproles is.
Yeah, maybe. It's certainly possible, yeah.
They still have Corey Clement too, don't they?
They do,
So
yeah.
Corey Clement week.
Yeah, I think that Howard has deserved some more touches. The touches that he's getting, he deserves them. Now, last week was more just the Eagles controlling the offensive line than anything.
Devin Singletary, still like a game time decision. So is Marlon Mack. If Singletary sits, you can play Gore, but you don't feel good about it.
Nah, you never do you?
No.
You never do. But, volume is volume. You can't ignore it, especially injuries happening. 2 more teams on bye this week. Maybe you had carry on. Maybe you're in a tough spot. If Singletary doesn't play, I would expect Gore to touch the ball 14 times, wouldn't you?
I think even if Singletary plays, he's going to touch the ball 14 times.
Probably. You're probably right.
Yeldon played more snaps than Gore did a week ago. So it could just kind of go either way. It seems like Gore kind of has his role, and then they're going to splice in whoever else is active. Like, you can play him. That's fine. And it does look like Josh Allen is going to play.
Yeah.
So that's good news.
Practicing full on Friday. I saw on the Bears, on their website,
Bills.
the Bills, Bears. Yeah, it had him in there as full practice and in the starting quarterback position. So I think he's going to play too.
Yeah, Marlon Mack also appears like he's going to play. Let's say you're not going to know is the problem because it's the Sunday night game. So I would have Jordan Wilkins on hand.
Absolutely.
To replace him. A lot of people are saying Hines. I get the Hines call because they're 10-point underdogs.
Yeah.
A lot of passing, that makes sense. But if they're going to try to stay in this game, then they're going to have to try to run the ball.
They are. And Wilkins is that guy to run.
Paris Campbell is out as well, so maybe fewer options in the passing game. Maybe Hines finds his way on the field that way, but it'd be Wilkins who I would want as a Mack replacement. I don't even love Mack if he plays. That's the problem.
I know. It's tough. They are going to want to run the football there, but we've seen this before as early as recently as last year. Mack was sidelined, and they used both guys. Hines isn't that type of back. It will be Wilkins. Yeah, he's a pass catcher. I could see him catching 6 or 7 balls in this matchup, though. If there's no Mack.
If there's no Mack. And maybe he can anyway. I don't know. But, if Mack plays, what would you anticipate his touch level being? I'm thinking, 18?
Yeah, I think so, too. It just, he was questionable last week, right? He left the game, but heading into that week, he led the NFL in touches, and he's been questionable, or carries rather. He's been questionable, I think, every single week besides week 1.
Wide receiver injury report. Mike Williams, game time decision, but I have him as in right now into the rankings. Looks like T.Y. is going to play. Great news for our team.
Yeah.
And
we could use him with Adams out.
Yeah. Demarius Thomas is a game time decision. Rashard Higgins is a game time decision. It looks like Michael Gallup is going to play, despite the fact that he said he hasn't sprinted yet.
That's weird.
Maybe saving it all for the game.
Yeah, I don't know how I would feel about him. I don't know if I would play him.
No, I have him very low in the rankings.
Yeah.
Just I want to wait and see. But he kills Devin Smith and probably Randall Cobb at the same time.
Sure.
Also, let's see. Jarvis Landry passed concussion protocol, so he's gonna play on
positive,
Monday night. So
positive news.
Good news.
Yeah.
Tyrell Williams is dealing with a foot injury. Looks like he's gonna play. Only player in the league who's got a touchdown in all 4 games.
In all 4 games, yeah, and a steal in drafts.
Not a great spot against the Bears when you're already banged up.
Yeah, not a good spot. I don't expect Oakland to, like you just already said it earlier, using 14 points. I don't expect them to even get to that number, to be honest with you.
And the last one, Stefan Diggs. Non-injury related, but he might be benched anyway.
Yeah.
For reasons.
He's not happy.
Would you be happy?
I wouldn't be happy either. There's a lot to take away from him and Thielen and Kirk Cousins in this entire offense. I think they have over $220 million invested in those 3 guys. And I don't remember the numbers offhand, but it's pretty close ballpark figure. Last year, after 4 games, Thielen had 40 catches and almost 500 yards. And this year he has less than 20. And fewer than 200 yards. Like, he's just not involved in the offense. He's not playing the same role. Kirk Cousins needs time in the pocket to get him downfield. He's not playing in that slot role. And Diggs clearly isn't happy. He doesn't want anything to do with this team at all. But leaving the team and airing it out when you return and saying that there's truth to the rumors that, he wants out of town and to be traded, you're right. He could be benched. I mean, it's not like Zimmer just to be like, yeah, okay, we're going to feed you now, Diggs. Now you're crying and complaining. We're going to switch up the offense for you. It is a dream matchup. We want to see these guys get the ball more, but he's 56th in the league in targets.
Is there any merit to a Cousins, Thielen, Diggs stack if Diggs plays against the Giants?
There is. I'm playing Thielen for sure. I would imagine he would be chalky. I can't see why he wouldn't be, to be honest. Like, why wouldn't you take this shot? The fact that he has spoken out.
He's still expensive is the problem.
He's still expensive. Maybe that'll keep the people off of him. I like him. I like him a lot. I'm going to play him. I love the matchup. You can play Adam Thielen at 6,700 and Michael Thomas at 66.
Or Tyler Boyd at 65.
Or Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd is a much better play.
Or just you could pay up $100 to get the Tampa guys. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how popular he's going to be.
Okay.
Maybe he should be like usually the receiver who complains.
Yeah.
Pick that guy.
Yeah, pick that guy. They asked him after the game too, like, how hard was it for you to get open against the Bears secondary? And he said, not very. And then he backtracked later. Like, he was like, maybe I'm calling out Cousins a little bit. He said, Cousins has no time to get the ball out of his hands. He's got to have time to make things happen. But you're right. The matchup is great. I feel like this will be a Thielen game. They could easily lean on Cook and just use him again, which is very possible. And if that is the case, then I would be really nervous as a Thielen. I would already be nervous if I owned Diggs, but as a Thielen owner, I would be and I tried to get him everywhere this week, but the feeling I think most people have is no, it's coming because you got the Eagles and the Jets coming up on the schedule too.
That's big news. And maybe that's a place to showcase it. If I was at the week 6 trade deadline.
Yeah.
If they want to trade someone, hey, get him back in. You play, and it's not like the Giants are a good defense. Giants are a bad defense.
They're a bad defense. And Jenkins hasn't, I know he had a good week last week, but there used to be a time where we feared Janorius Jenkins.
Not no more.
Yeah. Not at all.
The only one is T.Y. Hilton. I still have him. So I have Thielen ranked at 24 this week or something like that. I'm just still a bit
That's fair.
It's either he's going to be top 5 or he's going to be nowhere near that. So it's going to be a boom or it's going to be a bust. So play him with a modicum of confidence, but not too much.
I definitely wouldn't play Diggs. I don't think I'd play Diggs. If you play multiple lineups, sure, try him out maybe in one, but
I'm just talking season long.
In season long, I don't think I would play him at all.
Would you play Auden Tate or Diggs?
I
think I'd play Auden Tate in season long.
Me too. You know what? I brought up Auden Tate a couple weeks ago on the throwback at the Athletic, and I said just kind of let's keep an eye on him. I put him in the dock, and I was we were all laughing and joking, Auden Tate, he sucks. Whatever. The Bengals suck.
No, that's not the question. The question isn't Auden Tate, he sucks. It's Auden Tate. Who is that?
Sure, who is that? Fair enough. And then John Ross goes down, but before John Ross went down, he had 10 targets in that game, and then last week he had a team high 6, so that's 16 looks in the past 2 games. For a Bengals team that they're having issues running the football. Maybe this is a game that they're involved now and Mixon can get his 20 touches, maybe. But they are throwing the ball a ton there. Zach Taylor has made it very clear what he wants to do in Cincinnati. And Murray and Dalton are both in the top 5 in passing attempts. A lot of that has to do with their defenses sucking. I get that. But for Tate now as the number 2, I know Boyd's the one, but you got to throw the ball to somebody there. Eifert is on your list too, mostly because of the matchup, but some of these guys are going to get looks, and I think Tate could come away with 10 targets in this game.
Well, yeah, the world agrees with you. Yeah. We eventually get to the ownership projections for DraftKings. Auden Tate, 28%.
My goodness. Yeah, again, maybe
no one is a secret anymore.
Nobody is a secret. You're right. I said this too before we got on. Everybody that is just creeped up. Inman last week, Aguilar the week before that, Smith the week before that. You're not catching anybody by surprise. If you're a cash game player, I probably would play him.
He's $3,500.
I probably would play him in cash, to be honest.
If you only had to pick one to play, would you play Eifert, who's projected at 22%, or Auden Tate?
I would play Tate.
I think I would play Tate as well.
I would play Tate as well because the proof is there. It's not just one game he's coming off. He's coming off a couple games now where he's been targeted. And even that game against Buffalo, I watched the last drive when Dalton gave it up. He targeted Tate 3 times on that final drive. It's just what it is, and Eifert is not getting that kind of volume.
No, and it was in that game where Ross put it on the ground and didn't get a look again.
Absolutely.
They just started targeting Tate over and over. Their offense actually started to move at that point.
Yeah.
So the problem with Eifert is, Arizona sucks against tight ends, and maybe it's stupid not to play him, but watch CJ Secret of the Uzuma end up with 2 touchdowns.
It's possible. 100%. It's very possible. The reason why Disley worked out and he was so good, and we talked about him last week, his ownership is like he was just getting volume. Like he was the only tight end there now. They had traded Vanette, and he's a big part of that offense. Saw it again last night.
Well, it's funny. Is he just like a legit close to top 5 tight end?
I think so.
He's averaging in games he started in his career. I think it's 9 starts now. He's averaging 18.5 fantasy points.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. Wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I think so.
I don't know if he's top 5, but he's definitely top 10.
He's definitely top 10. I'd like him more at this point than Delaney Walker.
Yeah.
I
think he's in that tier.
Yeah, he's in that tier. Hooper's in that tier. Like he belongs. Hooper may be maybe slightly ahead of him.
I think Hooper's the number 1 tight end this year. Like so far.
Yeah.
It's him or Ingram, one of the two.
Yeah.
And Kelsey, who's yet to have a good game, is third.
Yeah. I mean, Hooper had the 4th most catches among tight ends last season. Nobody really talked about him. Like, it just didn't have the yards and the touchdowns.
It seems like it all, and maybe it's just me headcanoning it, misremembering it, not actually looking at the real numbers.
Yeah.
It feels like they all come in spurts. Like, you'll have a 12-catch game, then a 2-catch game.
Yeah, there was no consistency. He was very efficient. Like, I felt like he had, like, just over 80 targets and, like, 70 grabs. He reeled them all in. And Calvin Ridley seems to be passed right now on the depth chart with Sanu in terms of targets.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a scheming thing where teams are like, you know what, we're not going to do. Let Calvin Ridley get behind us.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. Yeah. Whenever, I'd be curious to see the win percentage of games where Calvin Ridley catches over a 20-yard touchdown.
It seems like all of his touchdowns have come in bunches, too.
Yeah, they come in bunches, and they seem to come like when that offense is rolling. When it's not rolling, like he's just marginalized.
And he's a decent matchup this week, too. So I think he could be sneaky on DraftKings because I do like Matt Ryan. I think most people are looking at Julio and Hooper.
No, when I started going through all the numbers, Julio's like projected like 10%. He's so expensive. And we talked about paying up at running back because there are so few good low-end running backs that you just can't afford them.
Right. Yeah. I like him. If you can find a way to get him in there. He's had one bad game, and it was just last week.
But if that's the case, like, does that mean you would sacrifice going from like Fournette to Royce Freeman instead of going from, I don't know, Thielen up to Julio?
Yeah.
Like, which two do you like better? It's probably the first end.
And for Fournette, like...
but it could be Henry. It could be anyone around that.
But I feel like Fournette has been disrespected on DraftKings for a couple weeks now. Like, what's not to like about Fournette? Like, he's catching balls out of the backfield. I think he's got 2 games with 6 catches. He's played 91% of the snaps this year. Only Christian McCaffrey's played more than him. So he's getting all of the looks. All of the offense runs through him. I like him again this week.
Yeah, Carolina's pass defense and pass rush is incredibly good. The run defense, not great.
No, not great.
It's just like Jacksonville. The run defense, not great.
Not great. No, not at all.
It's actually just a nice game to play Fournette versus McCaffrey if you really want to
go with it. My goodness. Yeah, absolutely. Both of those guys, if you can.
So likely out at wide receiver, Kenny Stills, Brashad Perriman, Terry McLaurin. He's a game time decision, but if you didn't play last week and you're only practicing on a limited basis, I'm guessing you're probably not going to play.
He's probably out.
Demir Byrd, Travis Benjamin, Traquan Smith, and AJ Green. They just haven't been officially ruled out yet. They're not playing.
No.
Officially ruled out, Christian Kirk, Devontae Adams, Dontrell Inman, John Ross, who's put on IR, Taylor Gabriel, Tyreek Hill, Deshaun Jackson, and Paris Campbell.
Yes. So much for Campbell.
It feels like we should have interest in one of the other Colts guys just because of the matchup.
Yeah.
But I legit have no idea who it is. Last week it was fucking Chester Rogers.
Yeah, I know.
Until he got hurt.
Yeah, until he got hurt. And he plays mostly in the slot, so it seems like he's probably the guy. Deion Kane gets more targets downfield.
And Zach Pascal gets more in the red zone.
Yeah, I'm not going to mess around with that. But
up Ebron, pump up Doyle.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends. Like if you're in that's a Sunday night game, right? So the showdown, like, I mean, they're probably going to have to throw the ball. Like Jacoby Brissett's probably going to have to take some shots downfield. He would figure, like, I mean, Mahomes, that's in KC too, right?
Yeah.
Mahomes gonna throw a couple touchdowns after throwing none last week.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for showdown too. Like you go like Mahomes, Kelsey,
and then
probably Hardman.
Yeah,
I'd probably go Hardman for showdown purposes.
It
all depends on the prices, but then like
he's got the higher ceiling opposed to Robinson,
Ebron, Zach Pascal would probably be who I bring it back with.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. There's a lot of guys to use in that game.
There is. You can get really creative in that game because, I mean, we didn't even mention Robinson. And then there's, Damian Williams is back this week, probably catching balls out of the backfield.
We didn't even talk about that. We probably should talk about Damian Williams. Returning, would you play McCoy or Damian Williams?
I would play McCoy.
I would play McCoy as well.
But, I mean, you could play both of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have them both on your team, but they're both top 25 backs because of the upside.
It's funny you say that. I have Damian Williams at number 23, Shady at like number 17 or something.
We've already seen it. I think it was week 1 and week 2 that they both finished as top 15 running backs. And even a couple weeks ago, like Darrell Williams and Shady both finishing as top 15 running backs. It doesn't matter whoever's healthy and playing.
Now that Adams is out, would you start Adam Thielen or Marquez Valdez-Scantling? I'd start Scantling.
It's probably the safer call. My goodness, we are there.
I have to play Geronimo Allison in the league, and I hate
know
myself for it.
Yeah, I know. Man, my goodness, it sucks. Like Thielen is just so much better. I hate what's going on there in Minnesota. But you're probably right. You're down to MVS and Geronimo. And Geronimo is the guy that's probably most likely to get the touchdown, but I really do feel like MVS has that higher ceiling. He's a better wide receiver. He gets more of the targets. I think he's got almost 20 more targets than Geronimo this year, but both of Geronimo's touchdowns have come inside the red zone when, Aaron Rodgers loves to throw the ball. They didn't run him last time at all.
Now they're definitely going to run.
Now they're definitely.
Is Aaron Jones a good play on DraftKings?
I think he's okay. I think he's an okay play. I mean, he's not expensive. He's probably going to touch the ball. It definitely 15 times. Like that would probably be his floor, right? Mm-hmm. With no Williams there, so he's okay. I just don't love him. I think like Rodgers will just throw a ton.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Although this game could just be like pure defense.
Yeah, I don't really like Green Bay. I think Dallas bounces back.
Hey, everyone's picking Green Bay. Like I had no real take on the game. We did the spread show. Like Cust was big on Green Bay. Feinberg was big on Green Bay. I was like, I guess I'll take Green Bay. Just the bounce back,
like. New Orleans played unbelievable last week. Their defense was really good, and maybe that was just a slap in the face to Dallas. Like, oh, we're playing a good team now, and we just can't have that much success. I think the way that the Eagles ran all over Green Bay last week, I think Zeke is in for a big game. I think, he touched the ball like 26 times last week. He caught 6 passes. Like, he wasn't efficient, but he should be able to run all over that defense, and I think that's bad news for Green Bay.
Well, that's interesting because very few people are actually playing Zeke.
I think he's a very interesting pivot off the top. Yeah. Wow. I'm very interested in Zeke this week.
Cardinals receivers. So no Damiere Byrd, no Christian Kirk. And I thought that would lead to a huge spike in targets and snap share for Keyshawn Johnson, especially when Crabtree got cut. That never happened.
No.
It was Trent Sherfield.
Yeah, I know.
Who played like 90-something. Didn't really do anything with it, but now he's playing the Bengals. That's better news. This game in general, I think you can pick just different pieces of it, and everyone's picking the same 4 pieces.
Yeah.
A lot of people are using Dalton. A lot of people are using Auden Tate.
Yeah.
A lot of people are using Eifert, and a lot of people are using David Johnson.
Yeah.
I was shocked to see that Larry Fitzgerald's name didn't just randomly pop up. He's $6,000.
Doesn't make much sense.
Sherfield and/or Keyshawn could be players in this game, and they're both super duper cheap.
Yeah.
I think Sherfield's like the min at $3,000.
Yeah.
He's 31 to 3,000. But I wouldn't want to play Mixon because no one stacks 8 in the box more than the Cardinals do. They like dare you to throw. But the defenses are where you need to look.
Yes.
Because Dalton can throw 3 touchdowns and 2 pick sixes.
And Murray can do the same, right? We've already seen Murray throw a couple picks. I like both of these defenses a lot. I'm leaning more so with Arizona just because Dalton's been sacked the second most time in the league. And last week, what happened was they took out their starting left tackle when that game was out of hand, but they left Dalton in to get sacked numerous times. He took like 8 or 9 sacks and was just like, what are you guys doing? And they even asked after the game, like, why did you take your starting left tackle out and not Dalton? We're just like, well, Dalton's experience, we really wanted to save our starting left tackle. We saw he was getting exposed. We wanted to keep him. Like, so you were fine with Dalton just taking all of those sacks? It was very puzzling to hear, and I didn't like it at all. And Arizona's gotten a few sacks recently. They can get after the quarterback a little bit, so I like them a lot. Now we're talking about Auden Tate being the number 2 in this offense. Eifert, we just assuming he's gonna be good because of the matchup. He hasn't had a lot of targets.
Yeah, we're really hyping up guys who
were not
be
great.
Terrible.
Yeah, we really are. And even on the other side, right? We really are as well. So I think both of these defenses, they're both dirt cheap. Teams are going to be passing the ball a ton. We could get a couple picks out of this. I like them a lot. If you're not spending up for New England and Chicago, I mean, I think you spend down.
Yeah, I like the Saints at $3,400.
Yeah, they're interesting too.
That's sort of like that midpoint, just because you might get bad Jameis. Yeah. And bad Jameis is good for fantasy defense. But the Cardinals, especially, because if we talk about all the reasons we like this game from a fantasy perspective to start off with, a lot of pass volume. That just very quick play that leads to a lot of plays. But if you're going to get a lot of plays, and a lot of those are going to be pass plays against two teams with no offensive lines, that's where you look for defenses.
Exactly. Yeah, both offensive lines have really struggled. So, I think there's a lot of players in this game, and I don't think a lot of people will look at the defenses. I think they just gravitate to DJ. I'm surprised about Fitz. I like Fitz a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Fitz is like not...
He's fine.
He's not going to be like unowned. But
right. And the ceiling it's not crazy high, but he's one of those safe guys. Like him and Boyd should get a ton of targets.
You can just, if you just play those two instead of the other pieces, that might be
then
the way
fine.
to go about it.
Play those two and move on.
Yeah. Let's see here. Golden Tate and Antonio Callaway coming back from suspension. Callaway doesn't play until Monday night, but it'll be, if Higgins is back as well, it'd be very curious to see how they're utilized.
Yes.
Because Callaway, talent-wise, is way better.
Yes.
He's just a crazy person.
Yeah, he would have won much higher in the draft if he didn't have some issues going on.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, though, because they want to use a lot of wide receivers.
I wouldn't advocate either one of them.
Yeah.
Unless like you really have like a strong feel about it, maybe use them in showdown or something.
Yeah.
But and like where Callaway doesn't play until Monday as well. If there's someone on your bench who gets hurt or someone who sucks that you want to drop, just go pick him up.
Yeah, go grab him. That's encouraging for Landry. I believe in what we saw from him last week when you and I were watching that football game together.
Well, they made an effort to not let Odell beat them.
Fair, good point. But it's been a couple games in a row now with Njoku's sideline that he's getting at least a lot of looks.
And Ricky Seals-Jones.
Interesting.
Ricky Seals-Jones.
I mean, that was one of those games where I wouldn't take too much stock into OBJ not having a good game. I would go try to get him if you could. I mean, people seem to be down on him.
People just don't like him.
Yeah,
that's the
fair.
reason.
Yeah, he got fined in that game too. He came in. Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
QBs: Gardner Minshew and Josh Allen, both likely. I have them likely in at this point in time. And then we have Cam, Breeze, Trubisky, and Sam Darnold all officially ruled out.
Yeah,
and Colt McCoy is starting for the Redskins.
Yeah, wow, good on them. Play New England. Good luck, guys.
Watch them win.
That'd be unbelievable.
It'd be fantastic.
That'd actually be one of the biggest upsets I've ever seen. I'm not even kidding, man. This Washington team is brutal. And the fact that New England has how many points have they allowed this year? 17, 20? I don't know. And like 7 of them was because I don't even know who came in for Brady to throw that pick 6 right away.
Yeah, and the other one in that game was a special teams muff punt touchdown.
Exactly. And you can go all the way back to last year throughout the playoffs, right? The Chargers didn't do anything against them until late. By that time, the game was already over. The Rams didn't do anything against them either.
If Josh Allen doesn't get concussed last week, the Bills win that game.
Yeah, and Josh Allen led the league in fourth quarter comebacks last year.
He has 3 already this year.
He has 3 already this year, and you're probably right because Brady in that offense, and you and I were not surprised because we've been talking about the Bills defense for a couple years now.
You know who's surprised? Patriots fans who only know about Patriots.
And other people that don't really follow the Bills. And I'm not going to say any names, but a lot of people are now questioning New England's offense.
No, they're fine. They're going to score like 80 points.
Why are you guys questioning New England's offense?
That is a stack. I brought this up with Roz when we did the DraftKings show that I do really like this week. Just play Brady. It just feels like you're saying, people are like, oh, is Brady no good? Like, Brady's fine.
Yeah, and Brady, the fact what we just saw in Buffalo, I mean, he was, 18 for like almost 40 through that brutal pick in the end zone. This could very well be a Brady, let's get Josh Gordon involved this week.
Let's get Brady going again here.
Yeah.
And the Patriots are not above saying, fuck you, we're going to score 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, they don't give a shit, man.
They'll score them all in the first half.
They score 40, 50 points. They really don't care.
Tight ends, I still have Vance McDonald in right now, but again, that's Monday night. Unless we know for sure, even if we know he's playing, it is.
Yeah,
I don't know. He's playing on Sunday, so yeah, he's probably not going to play.
Yeah,
I keep thinking again that they're playing San Francisco, and I don't know why.
Yeah, they got the Ravens, so we'll know. But we'll know about that
Cleveland,
one. But I'm not totally interested in.
I have him at 18.
Yeah. I mean,
because Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis are now both out with concussions. The sprinkler, Jeremy Sprinkle. Remember the sprinkler?
I do, yeah, I really do, yeah.
Good white man dance. We can all do it.
Yeah, we can all do it. Washington's in a tough spot.
Ben Watson's back from suspension.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how. Chris
Herndon back next week, likely coinciding with Darnold too.
Yeah.
I would pick up Chris Herndon.
Me too.
Unless you had a good tight end, then you don't need him.
Sure, yeah. If you got Waller late, and Disley, you picked up Disley. You definitely don't need him. But Herndon, I had this guy ranked as a top 12 tight end heading into the year, knowing that he was going to miss time. Now I didn't know that Sam Darnold was going to have mono, but He was throwing passes this week. I actually thought he was going to play.
He doesn't want to die on the field.
Saw that.
I think he just knows he's incredibly Andrew cursed. He's like, fuck this.
Maybe he's afraid of Fletcher Cox. The Eagles are not getting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. I know a lot of sacks, so I mean, you shouldn't be worried about it. It was a dream matchup for him. But yeah, I think I really liked what I saw last year from them too.
I like Robbie Anderson in this game, even with
yeah.
Luke Falk. Like they're gonna have to take a shot at some point.
They will,
and it's gonna be with him. And the Eagles still don't have a secondary.
They don't have a secondary. No, they're allowing the most catches, fantasy points, everything to wide receivers, and the second most to quarterbacks. So I mean, yeah, nobody's gonna really think about him now that Darnold is out. Because that's the thing. Oh, I like him if Darnold plays.
Yeah,
take a shot on him.
Like he's $4,500. Yeah. Like he's super cheap, and we know he's a boomer bust guy. Like even if Darnold played, he could have 0 points.
Yeah, and nobody. I think a sneaky guy too is Bell. If you play multiple lineups, I don't think he's going to have a lot of success around the football, but he had like 10 catches.
Yeah, but for like 10 yards.
I know it's the Jets, and it'll be better with Darnold.
With the sneakier one, I think that if Allen is back, like the Titans are completely exploitable in the middle of the field, that Beasley becomes like a good play all of a sudden.
Yeah, I like Beasley.
I had wanted nothing to do with him when Matt Barkley was going to be starting.
Right.
If Allen's going to start, then give me Cole Beasley.
Yeah, I think Beasley is in play in deeper formats, DraftKings, and John Ross. You can dial him up now again. No, or not John Ross.
John Brown.
Those guys mixed up. John Brown.
We're having a bad day for names and teams.
Brown. Yeah. John Brown. Yeah, get him in there.
Case of the Fridays.
Need Paul.
Darius Leonard's going to be out for the Colts.
Yeah,
not great.
They're totally like such a different defense without him.
They're actively bad without him, and they're actively great with him.
It's like top 5 to bottom 5.
Well, it's like all those years with Dallas and Sean Lee. Like if Sean
Lee
plays, they're great.
They're great. Yeah,
and he plays 5 games a year. Well, it was like Bob Sanders with the Colts. Like Sanders is healthy. They have a great D. He's out. They're terrible.
Yeah, they need him. That's bad news for them.
So those are the injury reports. DK ownership. Let's talk about that for a second. Here are the guys, and again, fansharesports.com. They aggregate all of the people that get talked up around, and they actually formulate that into projected ownership for each of the positions on all the DFS slates. Use promo code PME at checkout. Get yourself a discount. Highly recommend you do it. I did it. You did it.
I did it. Yeah, it's a great tool.
It's helpful.
It's phenomenal.
Listen, I'm going to be real with you. If you play like $10 worth of lineups a week, probably not for you.
No, it's not.
But if you play over $100, then it probably is for you.
Yeah, I love seeing. I obviously like to see the top. I can kind of guess it, but I like to see after the first 3. Like to your point when you brought it up earlier, like guys that are like instead of 28, 25. Yeah. Like I like to see those guys that nobody's really talking about. We can get a guy that's, has a high ceiling that's only like a 9-10% ownership.
Yeah, it's not to look for the 1% guy.
Right.
It's to look for the 9% guy who's really good.
Good.
I'll take that guy then.
Yeah, and Julio's a great example this week.
Yeah, I did not expect Michael Thomas to appear on any of these lists. But
no, I'm actually shocked to see that.
It's because it's too cheap. That's why.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously cheap.
I don't know if I'll go there, but he's been okay.
Yeah. This is a great matchup against Tampa.
Yeah.
Running backs. McCaffrey, 30%. David Johnson, 28%. Dalvin Cook, 23%.
Yeah.
I love McCaffrey. Like, I could take or leave David Johnson.
Yeah.
It's Cook and McCaffrey that I would want.
They're the 2 safest running backs in football, right? Aren't they?
Yeah,
McCaffrey's played 100% of the snaps in 3 of his 4 games.
Like, I would say if you don't want to play one of those 2, or you want to play those 2 and play a running back flex, look at Eckler or Fournette.
Agreed. I love Fournette this week.
Then you got to pay down.
Then you got to pay down. Again, I think that Zeke is in play. I know it's so risky not to play McCaffrey.
You could play McCaffrey and Zeke instead of playing Cook.
And then, because there's guys that you can spend down for wide receivers. But yeah, you're right. I've had this strategy all year. I've just been spending up at running back. I've been spending up for those 2 guys, Cook and McCaffrey. I've had a lot of success just playing those 2 guys. And anytime I feel like I get cute and come off of them,
you do horrible.
I do horrible. Yeah.
Wide receivers, Auden Tate, 28%. Michael Thomas, somewhere in the mid-20s. DeAndre Hopkins, just over 20.
Yeah, we all want to just believe that things are going to work out between Watson and Hopkins, but is it?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it work out?
I mean, it's just been 3 bad games in a row. It's not on either of them. It's just on the offensive line. It's been so brutal. I'm sure it'll work out, but it doesn't look good, man. Like the fact they only scored like 10 points against Carolina last week, it's not very appealing.
Where do you like?
And I think people are just, again, these ownerships, like I'm surprised. It's just because recency bias, I suppose. Like they just haven't been good.
Well, and the problem is like if you're going to not use Dalvin Cook, then you are going to use Hopkins or
Yeah.
because then you're going to pay up.
Yeah.
So like if I look down of like realistically, if I'm gonna pay up at running back and even flex at running back, where do I start with my receivers? Like Valdez Scantling is only 56. Allen Robinson's only 56. I like Hollywood Brown. I'm just gonna.
I like Hollywood Brown too.
I would. It's not optimal to
Right.
make him your most expensive receiver at $5,700.
Yeah.
But like if you use him and Will Fuller and Robbie Anderson, just have YOLO week and hope they catch that bomb.
Yeah, and it does seem like it's coming for Will Fuller as much as I said, when is it going to get better?
And
he has
Hollywood
taken
too.
a couple shots. Yeah, and last week too, Lamar just missed him deep shot in the end zone.
Dede this week.
He's got the very high ceiling.
Bradbury takes out Chark on the outside.
Dede.
Dede's in the slot. That's where
Yep.
Carolina's been getting killed.
Yep.
Be a nice week for him.
Yeah.
I said Beasley. I don't like the price on Beasley solely because it's like 40 something hundred. I think Philip Dorsett as well
Yeah.
is a way to go.
Yeah, as much as I feel it could be Gordon, it could easily just be Dorsett. It just seems like every
he's the
game
one
he
who
gets
isn't
that long
coming out of
touchdown.
this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause Edelman's banged up. Gordon's banged
banged
up.
up.
Dorsett's fine and he's on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good call. And Ridley in that range too, I think is interesting. It's just maybe
I think I like Ridley the least out of all those guys.
yeah, and I think
Not-
I
like
like him
more
the
than
least.
Beasley.
Least on the Falcons too, but somebody who could potentially be low owned.
Yeah, Fuller and Anderson are both $4,500. Mike Williams is really interesting if he ends up playing, but the problem is you'd have to late swap onto him
Yeah.
more than likely because he's in that later game. Then do you think
I think I could go back to Keenan.
would you play Sutton or would you play Sanders?
I would play Sanders. I think Sutton definitely has that touchdown upside. We saw find the end zone twice without Ramsey playing, but I like Sanders. I like his price too. I mean, he's cheap and when he's playing, he's getting a ton of the targets from Flacco.
Just looking at it right now, I'm trying to find. There's
I think he's down there.
Trevor Davis against the Bears if Tyrell Williams sits out. Wide receiver 1.
I mean, sure.
That's not great.
It's not great. It's Bears defense, dial him up.
The other piece of that Bengals game that Alex Erickson's going to start in the slot.
Yeah, he's gonna.
He'll play on the outside wherever. They'll move Boyd around, but
yeah, he's gonna show up in
he's
the box score.
$3,100.
Yeah, that's an interesting pivot off Tate. I don't think he'd get that kind of work, but
He might.
yeah,
If everyone's just all in on Tate, like if Tate's going to be, let's just fake out some percentages here. If Tate is going to be 25% and Erickson is going to be 1%.
yeah,
The way that you need to think about this game theory wise, if you like that was a pivot you want to make, maybe you don't like either of them, then it doesn't make a difference.
yeah.
But does Tate, if we ran this 25 times, does Tate outscore Erickson 24 of the 25 times? I think the answer is no. He probably outscores him
Close to
4 of 5 times, maybe
Yeah.
3, maybe 7 of 10 times.
Yeah.
But with those percentages,
right.
the game theory move would be play Erickson over him.
Yes, and again, what I had said with these two quarterbacks, I mean, they're chucking. Right. And really, like at the same time when I said maybe this is a game that's competitive and maybe they'll use Mixon, Cincinnati has actually played in a couple competitive games so far this
Yeah,
season.
they either look good or they look bad.
Yeah. But the game plan is still the same. They're throwing the ball all the time.
Trent Sherfield is $3,000, by the way.
Yeah.
Sherfield, Tate, super team. There's your lineup.
McCaffrey, Cook,
Zeke.
Get them all in
Julio.
there. you could do something like
It's fine.
that.
Let's just
Put
try-
something together
let's
like
just,
that.
Let's just try this out for a second. Let's go
Yeah.
Sherfield.
Yeah. And then you
We'll
see
go
what
Tate.
kind of what you have left.
We'll go Auden Tate.
Yeah.
They're not letting me play Auden Tate. Oh no,
They don't.
I had quarterback selected.
They don't want you to play Tate.
Yeah, I'm self-excluded. Golden Tate. I want to play Golden Tate. So if I put those two in, and let's say we play, who's cheaper, Bengals or Arizona defense?
I think Arizona.
I think the Bengals are cheaper. Yeah, the Bengals are 2,500. The Cardinals
Okay,
are.
yeah.
So let's play Bengals D.
Yeah.
So we'll throw them in. We have an average salary of $6,800. Now this is going to go down in a second. So we'll take McCaffrey
Yeah.
and we'll take Cook. And you like Zeke. What if we just do Eckler?
Sure. Yeah. Chuck in Eckler.
We'll throw in Eckler. Eckler, hardly newer.
Yeah, and his price has dropped down.
He's only 67.
Oh, nice.
So now we have $5,700 left for a QB, 1 wide receiver, and a tight end. So who do we want to go with at quarterback? If we use like Dalton,
You
we
could use
save a ton of money.
Dalton's 50.
I told you I like Brady by himself.
Yeah, I like Brady too. By
Or
himself
maybe we
as
can
well.
do Brady. I like Ertz a lot this week.
Yeah, now you're pushing it.
We got Ertz. Do I have enough? I thought if I use Brady, I'd have enough for Dorsett. I don't.
Because Brady's pretty expensive.
So let's throw in Dorsett and take out Ertz. So we can afford any tight end that's not Zach Ertz. So we can have Evan Ingram if we want to against Minnesota. I don't love that. Waller?
Waller's not bad. Like his ceiling is not going to be high this week, but he's going to get a ton of catches.
We could do Hooper against.
Hooper's not bad. Hooper's trending up.
Here's the tight ends. Eifert 22%, Waller 18%, Andrews
14%.
14%.
Yeah. I don't like any cheap tight ends this week.
So when I talked about this with Raza, there was a few that did pop out. I talked about the sprinkler. He scored a touchdown like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, how much is he?
I assume he's $2,500.
He's got to be min.
Sprinkle $2,500. Noah Fant's only $2,800 against the Chargers.
Yeah, he's interesting. He's interesting.
Like that's a guy, like a legitimate guy you could probably play.
Yep, for
Not
sure.
That it would probably work out, but
You're starting to make me kind of like the sprinkler a little bit.
I'm not trying to talk you into the.
No, you're not
old
talking me into
sprinkles.
it.
Sprinkles.
But the fact that no McLaurin, they're going to be down, so there's going to be no AP. I mean, who's catching balls for them?
Thompson.
Paul Richardson is going to be
how about
completely
this?
shut out.
No one.
Colt McCoy doesn't make any completions. None. Yeah.
So
you're right.
tight end.
Getting dangerous.
Do we want to use Waller?
Yeah, I think if you can put
Would you
him in
rather
there,
use Waller or Andrews against Pittsburgh?
I would rather use Waller.
Would you rather use Waller or Hooper at 4,500?
I'd rather use Hooper.
Would you rather use Ingram over all of these guys? This week's tougher.
It is tougher. I think I would rather use Hooper over all those guys. Ingram probably still will be Jones's favorite target with Tate coming back.
So here's the thing. We have $1,300 left in this lineup.
And you got Brady in his QB.
Yeah. So the lineup is Brady, Cook, McCaffrey, Dorsett, Trent, Shearfield, Auden, Tate, Hooper, Eckler, Bengals, D. We can upgrade our
So
D.
you get any tight end that you want.
We could,
Besides
except for
Ertz.
Ertz. Or what we could do is downgrade Bengals to... I mean, the Steelers at 2,100 is not bad.
No, that's not bad.
So let's say Steelers at 2,100, and then Hooper, we'll put in Ertz. We still have $200 left.
That's pretty good, man.
That's not a bad lineup.
That's not a bad lineup at all. I mean, you have the three backs that have just been consistent all year. I might even just, if you wanted to spend down a tight end, you could even get up to Zeke. I really like Zeke.
Yeah.
But Eckler's fine.
Yeah,
But yeah, the concept is the same. You get the three unbelievable backs.
No, I'm not. That's if you do.
You have to go down to
bottom of the. Maybe you like different bottom of the barrel wide receivers.
Sure.
Or but maybe even if it's like Fuller and Robbie Anderson. And,
yeah, that's
and
not
Tate.
bad. Yeah.
Just shoot for upside and.
Yeah, spend down a tight end.
Oh, you know what I could have done there?
And then you
I
could
could
do
have
it
got
for-
up. We could have kept it the same. Instead of using Ertz, we keep in. Instead of using Ertz, we keep in. What do we have? Andrews in.
I thought you put Ertz. You put Ertz.
We put in Ertz, but I'm saying we go back down to Hooper. We go back to Bengals defense, and I can turn Dorsett into Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, and just play Brady.
Yeah, just
Without
play Brady
anybody
by
else
himself and
by
just
himself.
assume he spreads it out.
Yeah.
Ben Watson will catch 2 touchdowns for some reason.
Yeah,
or Lacoste.
Yeah. Oh, Lacoste. Yeah, he hasn't been around.
So, also, if you just kept it low and went back to Hooper from Ertz, that's $1,500 worth of savings. You don't need to play Shearfield and Tate. You can go up to a $4,800 receiver.
Right. Yeah, you could. The reason I like Hooper the most is just because Matt Ryan is throwing the ball more than anyone, and they just don't have a run game.
Could you play Goddard this week?
I don't think so. I mean, he had the touchdown. The one thing that we do like about Goddard is that all of his work comes in the red zone. They use both tight ends in the red zone. I just feel like the Eagles are going to run the football a lot. I think that what I saw last week from them, they really just turned their focus to the run game. I think they continue to do that.
I'll use Robbie Anderson instead.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson is interesting. You spend down a tight end, and then you can get a little bit more balance.
What if you just take Eifert instead? That's what you want to do.
If you plug in Eifert, then you're getting another top-tier wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the way to go, to be honest. You take the chalk, the one chalk with Eifert, whatever.
And Auden Tate.
And Auden Tate, fine. These guys are going to get looks. They're going to get targets. It's not crazy, ludicrous thoughts to play them.
Yeah.
And then you spend up another wide receiver.
And even in that circumstance, too, you don't need the world from, they both score. They do what Inman did last week. They get you 12.5 points each at 3,500 and 3,500.
Yeah.
You're great.
Yeah.
And then you hope McCaffrey goes
those
off
backs.
and Cook goes off.
Those three backs get to the 25, 30-point range, which they can do. They're averaging that.
Yeah, and then your quarterback, like, it doesn't need to be Brady.
It doesn't need to be.
It could have been Lamar.
You could actually go, like, isn't Brady the third highest? You
Yeah.
could go anybody you want, really, besides the top two.
I think I actually like Lamar the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Lamar
just so much safer.
Or even,
But Brady is going to, I don't know if people are going to use Brady.
I don't think they are either. So quarterback.
I would imagine Brady's pretty low on that ownership percentage.
The highest owned quarterback right now, like it's completely flat like it is every week. Deshaun, 14%, Matt Ryan, 12%, Dalton, 11%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even worry about quarterback ownership.
Yeah, never worry about it. You just play who you want to play.
Defenses. Here's an interesting one. Patriots, 14, makes sense. Carolina, 12. Against a banged up Gardner Minshew. I just see two, like the thing is, Carolina's 12 and Tennessee is 11. Those are two games where the teams are just going to run the ball. That is not what you want for a fantasy defense.
That's a good point.
Yes, the Tennessee Bills game might be 13-10.
Who cares? Yeah.
But that could be, 3 fantasy points?
You're right. I'm actually surprised to see even Carolina at 12, to be honest with you. Like, where's Chicago on this list? Are you kidding me?
That's interesting.
Like the Bears?
I didn't even think about the Bears.
Like, they should be right there with New England.
I think New England
they're like $300 cheaper, but they should be there in ownership-wise. Why aren't they?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Carr's going to have to throw the ball. He's going to have to. Well, yeah, maybe there's a little dump-offs, but
I just mean
Jacobs is just not going to have a lot of success running the football.
No, I mean, like, they might just continue to run because they're like, we're out of ideas.
We're out. Sure, maybe that's possible. But I mean, I like the Bears defense a lot this week. I think they're a decent pivot off New England. I mean, it's hard to get off New England. I mean, you look at the DraftKings points. What are they averaging? Like 20, 22 points. The next closest, I think, is Chicago at 13. It is silly. It's nuts. I mean, that's the difference. If you have New England, that's why I cashed last week in your contest. That's why Gary, when they played Dolphins, won all the monies.
Yeah.
Like, it was unbelievable.
Let's talk about some of these final spreads here. Dr. Jesse Moore shall be back next week to kind of check in. Don't need to do it every week.
Yeah, just here and there.
Yeah.
It's not a
It's
ton of significant
It's hard for me to
injuries.
get a phoner guest and switch the cameras. That's all the Paul will be here, so it's not that big of a deal. Nothing has really changed. I have the Bears as my super lock. I had them at 4.5. It's 5 now. So, like, I'm encouraged that it's not going the other way.
Yep.
Like, the money's coming in on the Bears. That's clear. So the spread is expanding.
Yeah.
That makes more than enough sense.
It's one of my favorite picks of the week too.
Yeah, I feel like it's everyone's favorite pick.
You know, it's scary. I would just.
I have them in Survivor.
I was just gonna say that, and I thought
I do.
I thought you were gonna maybe rip me for it. But
no, because
I'm going that way too.
It's just me and Jeff left in ours, but it's the same one that I'm putting in. He's using Kansas City. I could use Kansas City as well. It's a safer.
But when are you gonna use Chicago again? That's my.
I don't like thinking about that sort of thing, but
you want to get by.
I would like to have Kansas City in my back pocket.
Yeah,
because I've used. Yeah, everyone who's played the Dolphins so far. That's been my strategy.
That's been my strategy too. Although I overthought it last week, and I have gone like 100% against the Dolphins, and then last week in like 2 of them I went Rams, and it burned me. And it's just like, why overthink it? Just get to next week.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the feeling. If you haven't used New England, just use them. But yeah, if you can get away with Chicago, I would do it.
If you haven't used New England yet, and you have Kansas City left, I'd actually use Kansas City and save New England because they still get the Jets and Dolphins again.
Sure.
So there's a free one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will you take the Bills against the Dolphins when they play?
I think so. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, again, that defense is just so good.
What are like some other the Chiefs are favored by 11.
Yeah,
now.
that spread has jumped up a little bit. I
like Broncos. I like the Broncos plus.
I like the Broncos too.
I liked them plus 6.5.
Yeah.
It's now plus 6, and no one is betting on them.
No, I like the Broncos as well, and they've been in every game this year. Like they lost to Green Bay at the end, but they were in that game. They had the lead at one point. They just have a couple tough losses. They've had some really tough losses.
They're not good, but they're not bad.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not awful. The defense is. I didn't expect it to be a stout defense, but I expect it to be a lot better. And you get Chris Chubb is done, and then you get Chris Harris saying like only 14 more games or whatever he said. Like he's clearly checked out and not involved either. But
the big thing with that game is, and we kind of talked about it, is that you can theoretically 4 running backs in this game can be sustained.
Yeah.
And anytime that you get that sort of game, that means the clock is consistently rolling.
Yeah.
That means there's not a lot of like quick points being put up on the board. The Chargers ran a 10-minute drive last week against the Dolphins that resulted in 3 points.
Yeah, good
like
call.
the Chargers are going to do stupid Chargers things.
Yeah, for sure.
Like 6 points is a lot of points for how I expect this game to play out.
Yeah.
That if the teams are going to combine to run the ball, I don't know, close to 60 times.
Yeah.
Then it's hard to cover a giant spread that way.
I know.
And like six becomes giant in that circumstance.
Yep.
And there could never be a doubt that the Chargers win this game. Although
Right.
I think that Denver's completely live to win. But
Yeah, it's possible.
it's just one of those things where, like the Denver can get it to the, I don't know, have no problems getting it to the 30 and then can't move the ball beyond there and settle for a bunch
Settle
of
for
field goals.
field goals.
And
Yeah.
the
It could go the other way.
Same thing with the Chargers.
Well, we've seen that. We've seen it all year with the Chargers.
I like Philly minus 14 against the Jets.
I like.
You're the resident Philly guy.
Yeah, I called the Jets on my show, but I did say that, if Darnold was ruled out, that I probably would lean Philly like last minute decisions on Sunday morning.
Well, he's ruled out.
And he is ruled out. So, yeah, I will probably go there. But this is a team that honestly I don't feel should be favored by 14 against anybody. It just they start off slow. They're really bad in the first quarter. And if you're bad in the first quarter, you're not scoring those points. I mean, it eventually catches up to you as we got the backdoor Washington cover in week 1 when they were favored by double-digit points. They should be fine, but it's a high number, man. I would kind of stay away from it, to be honest with you. I mean, that's one that you could tease down.
First quarter money line, Jets 3-1.
Sure. What we've seen from the Eagles, man, they averaged 6 points per first quarter last year. And it's been equally just as bad.
Did the Jets even average 6 points a game?
Yeah. I mean, they could I think every game. Detroit started with the lead at home. And a couple weeks ago that they eventually won in Washington, same way, got up in that game like 14-0.
This is true. Maybe just one big Robbie Anderson touchdown.
Just one big one. They're down.
The Saints and Bucks stick at -3. The Texans Falcons, it opened at 4. It got smashed all the way up to 5.5. Now it's back down to 4. I like Atlanta.
I like Atlanta too. I jumped on when it was 5. I jumped on Atlanta. And the Falcons are honestly a team. I'll be honest with you guys. Like I don't get them right very often. They're one of those teams that I can't really figure out.
Well, it just seems like everyone's off now.
Yeah.
When everyone's on Atlanta, never take Atlanta.
Never a good thing. No. And I tend to stay away from them on the road. I think they're a much better team at home despite last week. But this is a game that I think they can keep close. And like I said about Houston, I'm just not there yet with this team.
The Texans, so far, they beat the Chargers by 3 points.
Yeah.
They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars by a point.
They probably should have lost that game.
They lost to the Saints by a point. And
Yeah.
last week they lost to
Carolina
by 3 points.
Yeah, I think 13-10, right?
4 points or 3 points, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So they've yet to win a game by more than 3 points.
Right.
And they're given
Yeah.
they have to
No
win by
reason.
more than 4.
No
Like,
reason for them.
Just go. Sometimes let's try to make it easy. I'm not saying it's going to work.
No, but it makes a lot of sense. And Atlanta coming off that bad game. So and you can throw on Houston.
You can do a lot of things. You can run. You can have no pass rush yet get to the quarterback against Houston
Easily. Yeah.
And if Josh Allen is back, I love the Bills.
I like the Bills too. And
What's the Bills money line plus what? It's off the board.
at 3.5,
It's off the board. 3.5 is great. 3 is still fine.
3 is still fine. 3.5, I was gonna do with Barkley. Honestly, I was still gonna do it. I was probably gonna sweat it out. But 3, I think Bills could outright win the game.
Like unless the Bills give up a special teams touchdown.
Yeah.
Or Derrick Henry just goes off.
Yeah.
I don't see how Tennessee scores points.
No,
unless it's a pick six.
Is the under still at 38? I still like that.
It was at
I know it's low.
38.5.
Yeah, I know that's low, but
So
it's very low. It's very nerve-wracking because if you do get one of those special team points.
Oh, the money line for the Bills is actually plus 140.
Oh, wow.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
So let's see. I can almost bet this right now. I feel it's easier to do on my desktop than do on this iPad. But if we go Bills plus 3 and the under, I gave this out on the show on Sunday morning last week and then didn't bet it on the show.
And then won?
No, it's just the super teaser. Tease it up with 7.
Yeah.
So instead of parlaying it together, I can't do it from here. But you can tease the Bills up to plus 10 and tease the under to 45.5.
Like that a lot.
And I said that last week, the Patriots-Bills game. Tease the Bills up to plus 13 and tease the over-under up to 47.
Like that a lot. I feel like you could do that with the Bills all year when they're not favored in games.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like they're not
going to get blown out.
like because I had the Bengals against them a few weeks ago at plus 6. Like the Bills aren't going to be a team that wins by 14 points very often.
No, they're not.
And they're not going to be a team that loses by 14 points very often.
No, the defense is so legit. And I think, You know, they just probably, they lost that game, but they probably came away from that game feeling pretty darn good about themselves, man.
That in the wrestling biz is what we call a Chris Jericho moral victory. Jericho could lose every match, yet somehow come away with the moral victory.
Come away with the moral victory.
He never
feeling
loses
real
heat.
good.
It's
No,
weird.
Yeah, I would imagine the Bills feel pretty damn good about themselves.
So I need to fill out my Super 7 for the week.
Yeah.
Are
got
you in
7
the Super
picks?
7?
No, I'm not.
So I'm going to go Chicago -5. I don't know if these are the same odds.
Atlanta.
I'll keep Atlanta on the back. Atlanta in contention, just like the Vikings are in contention at -5.
Yeah, Vikings. I like the Vikings.
I like
too.
the Jags at +3.5 over the Cardinals.
Yep.
I like the Patriots -15, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the Bills +3, although I think that is +3.5 on the site.
Yeah.
Then it gets dicey. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Dallas?
No, because I took.
Not going there?
I actually kind of like Baltimore -3.5 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think they bounced back. Juju called himself very questionable.
Did he?
That was interesting. Yeah, we didn't. I just thought about that now.
All right, I was gonna do I'll hit up Roto World right before we get out of here.
Yeah, he called himself very questionable, which makes me think he could not. He may miss this game.
Broncos. I'll throw on there. I kind of want to take
What
the
do you?
Eagles.
Yeah. What do you think of that Tampa and
I
New
like
Orleans?
the Saints.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Saints are just better.
Yeah. Well, definitely they are.
-3, like that's
Yeah.
Doesn't
It
seem
was
like
like
that.
5.
people like the Bucks won
And then,
last week.
And then I know there was hammering the Bucks. Like I liked the Bucks when it was like I saw it at 1.4, 4.5.
So I'm gonna go with those 5, and then I'll figure out the
3.
rest, and I'll lock in
You'll have to make a decision on
Sunday.
with Atlanta or Minnesota or Green Bay or
Atlanta,
Dallas
Minnesota.
or Dallas.
No, not Dallas. Philadelphia would be the other one for me. I'm just not going to touch that Green Bay game.
I think Minnesota is I like them this week, 5.5.
The latest before we get out of here, Eckler and Gordon likely to split carries. Report. Great.
It's gonna be back and forth.
Mike
But
Will-
again, that what we talked about. You're gonna get Eckler with a low ownership
Like
for
2%
what he's
of-
doing
yeah.
against that Broncos defense.
Denzel Ward is likely out again Monday night. Mike Williams says he's going to play on Sunday. That is not an official report. That's just what he said.
Okay.
Interesting guy in that game. Chris Godwin, good to go. Damian Williams, good to go. Shady not listed on the final injury report. I don't see this Juju stuff. Did I just miss it? Josh Gordon not listed on the final report.
Yeah, I was watching NFL
Juju,
Live.
toe. Oh, yeah, listed as questionable.
Hmm.
That's strange.
Yeah.
Keep an eye.
Definitely want to keep an eye on that. Johnson is obviously someone that should be picked up and
Moncrief?
maybe.
No
I
is
mean,
the answer.
Washington was on the field, but he's not getting any looks at all. It's almost like they just have him to run those go routes and just like,
Well,
oh yeah, maybe we'll throw downfield. to him.
Deontay Johnson's in a tough spot because if Juju ends up sitting, it's likely Marlon Humphrey ends up on him. So
Yeah.
maybe James Washington would end up being the play. That or who else? They have Johnny Holton.
Yeah,
Holton that pops up for like 5 plays a
I
game.
grabbed Washington. You guys know I've been talking about him for the first few weeks,
Okay,
and
here's the
hasn't done
thing.
anything.
He might suck.
He might suck. There's actually a pretty good chance of that he does suck. He doesn't suck as much as Moncrief, but if there's no Juju, I mean, hey, who knows? Maybe it actually will just be the Connor and Jalen Samuels show.
Yeah, maybe
both caught
maybe I
8
should
balls
bump up
last week.
Samuels in the
If there's no
rankings.
Juju, you probably should. Yeah, you bump him up slightly.
Call that late injuries.
Yeah.
As we talk about at the end. Anyway, Chris Meaney, tell everyone where they can follow you and where they can find you.
At Chris Meaney, doing lots of stuff at The Athletic, a pick show, a fun show with Jake and Brad Ziegler, and then a hockey show with Eric Young. The Eric Young.
The Eric Young?
Yes, and he's having a blast. It was jokes. What did he say the other day? He was talking about numbers. He's like, yeah, Meaney, I don't remember numbers because I get hit in the head for a living. I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's totally fair.
It's
but we're
funny.
having some fun with that.
I also think that's why the analytics movement in the NFL hasn't really worked out. All these coaches, ex-guys who just used to get hit in the head for a living.
Yeah.
My brain hurts.
There's way too many numbers. I'm just gonna go for 2. F off.
Which turns out to be the right move.
Yeah, exactly.
John Harbaugh gets it.
Yeah, he does.
Anyway, I'm Pat Mayo. You can follow me at the PME on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I told you about the giveaways. I told you about fansharesports.com. And I told you out there about getting into the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League or Viewers League if you're watching this video. Just go play in it, all right? I think there's 1,000 spots left for this week. If we get those filled up by Saturday afternoon-ish, then we're going to make it bigger once again. And there's just more money for all of us to compete for because there is no rake for the tournament. You can find all my updated rankings and picks and DraftKings cheat sheet in the description of this video, podcast, or up always at dkplaybook.com. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time with the Castangarian, taking all your questions. So remember to tune into that as well. Pat Mayo, I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!